WBD. So, a couple weeks ago, obviously it came out that they might be up for sale. Now it's looking like their assets might be split up. So I wanted you guys' thoughts on that, and what do you think it means for the company in the future? Curly, I'll start with you.
Well, I do believe a buyout is going to happen at some point. It could even happen right now. This company is tanking. It is on fire right now. It is just plummeting to the ground. Like, we got news that Adult Swim shows are going to be coming to Netflix, which hadn't been on there in since 2016. Like, they're still making deals out when they to get all their content licensed over to other platforms because they are so broke right now. And the last thing I will touch on that is hashtag sells GSGL to Netflix and hashtag sells Snyderverse to Netflix before it's too late.
Yeah. Can you guys see that on the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So here it is. This is from Deadline. This was from July 17th. So what? 3 days ago? Yeah. All right. Warner Brothers Discovery is reportedly looking to break off its streaming and studio businesses from linear networks to energize its falling stock prices. WBD stock closed Wednesday at $8.34 a share at plus 0.34%, but the media company is down in its 52-week high of $14.76 and currently has a $20.3 billion market cap. WBD CEO David Zaslav is apparently weighing a myriad of options, from selling assets to separating the movie studio and Max streaming services into a new company, free from the group's current near $40 billion debt. This is all per the Financial Times tonight. Deadline has reached out to Warner Brothers for comment. We'll update when they weigh in. So that last part, free from the, they're starting a new company, free from the group's current near $40 million debt. How do you think that they can do that, Curly?
Well, touch on that. I'm not highly too sure, but I really don't know how it's going to work out for them. They're just going to, to me, they're just going to continue plummeting and plummeting and plummeting and plummeting because there's nothing they can really do. The only way this is all going to be fixed up is if they get bought out, or if they sell, if they start listening to the fans about what they really want. They wouldn't be in this position right now. But I do believe that there's probably going to be some kind of buyout that's going to happen in the next few years or so, because, even if there's even if there's a new film that they release this year that makes $1 billion, it still ain't going to help them. Okay, Barbie made $1 billion, but did that help them out? Did it save them from, splitting their company in two? Nope.
That's what I mean, man. They got 40 million or 40 billion in debt. They can have 5, 6, 7. They can have $8 billion hits in a row, right, coming out, and they still wouldn't be able to cap that. They're at a point now where there's nothing that they can do. That's why that piece came out saying that that WBD, the way they're doing it now, is a dead stick. It can't be saved the way it is in its current form because of that debt that they have. They're only worth what, 17 billion, something like that.
Yep. And there's even articles I've seen. I think I saw one from, I think it was Deadline on the Hollywood Reporter, saying that, they're finally admitting that the Max, that the WB and Discovery merger.
Shout out to Bad Dan. Shout out to Mikey Sutton. Yep, I remember that.
You know what? I just feel like something just kind of seems off about this. Like, for me, it kind of, like the angle I'm looking at this, it seems like they're just trying to make numbers look a little bit prettier, by dividing up the company and trying to make their debt look a little bit prettier on paper. That's really all I'm seeing from this. I mean, I mean, maybe it does give the opportunity for another company to come in and buy specifically just what they want at a fraction of the cost it would obviously cost to buy out everything. But I don't know, like, this is just weird. I've been sitting on this article I've been sitting on this information the last few days trying to wrap my head around how this is going to work, and I haven't really come up with an angle, come up with like a real idea as to how this is going to play out. So I'm kind of just taking your guys' takes on it and seeing if it makes sense in my head.
At this point, I don't know. I thought it was going to be a straight, just somebody was going to come in. Look, let's buy them. Let's get this debt. I thought it was going to be something similar to the way they did it with AT&T, but that's starting to look like a bad idea. You know what I mean? Because it would just be another company coming in, picking up the debt. What if the same crap happens? You know what I mean? It's the debt that's the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The debt is that $40 billion is sticking out there like a sore thumb. That's the biggest issue right there. Because I can see, if they were like, oh, we're only $2 billion in debt, $3 billion in debt, 10 million, in debt. That wouldn't be so bad. They would have time to catch up. But $40 billion?
You know what I also think it comes down to too is they still have this mentality of these big budget $200, $300 million movies. Like, you see that going on with Superman, right? How that budget seemed to have completely ballooned, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, what these studios need to understand is that in general, people don't have the money like the way they used to. Okay, times have changed. The economy is different. The global economy is different. We're not just talking about like the US here. I'm Canadian. I'm here in Canada, bro. And like if I'm going to take my family to the movies, okay, it has to be, like, in my opinion, some form of an event film, like a Super Mario Brothers movie, or like like the Avengers, that event level film, because I'm not just going to take my kids out to go see like the next Minions movie or the next this or that. You know what I mean? It's got to be something special because it costs a lot of money now to go to the theaters. For me to take myself, my wife, and my 2 kids, and then by the time you factor in popcorn, a couple things, a couple drinks, you're looking at almost $120, $130 Canadian for me to have a night out with my family, right? So this whole notion of them consistently putting out these $200-300 million budgeted movies, it has to change. I really can't wrap my head around the fact why these budgets have to be so big. Why not put out, like, instead of 3 or 4 $200 million movies a year, why not put out like 6 or 7 $10 million budgeted movies a year that only cost $10 million to make? To me, if you take that strategy and you start, you start lowering these budgets, in the end, you're just going to be having a bigger return, correct? Like, the money that you're going to make off of it is like, people seem to think that a Superman movie can't be made with $10 million. Bro, give me $10 million. I'll make a fucking Superman movie. Excuse my language. But like, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? With the limited technology that I have, and I can make it look pretty freaking decent.
Well, you see that, and that's the thing, man, about VFX and stuff like that. You're paying for personnel to not fall asleep on the job. It seems like that's what you're paying for, because the software itself, if they gave you $10 million to make a Superman movie, you already got the software. You already know how to do the editing. You already know how to do the VFX. You already know how to do that stuff. The problem is obviously the money comes in where people need help. There are specific parts of those VFX that people work on. Like, say you may work, like, say, let's take Rebel Moon, for instance. You may be working on the Benus, the birds, right? I might be working on the backdrop for one of the planets. Somebody else might be working on the planet itself. So, like Velt, or there's so much that goes into it. But I think where it gets expensive is you have to pay for those people. You have to pay for those.
It's not only that, Charles, but like, okay, so I want to use Rebel Moon as an example. The very first movie, remember that opening shot where you saw that beautiful red space skyline where you see the planet in the background?
Yeah.
Okay, and don't get me wrong, I love Zack Snyder's work and Zack Snyder's visual effects. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. But let's just take that for example. You don't think that a shot like that can be recreated? Um, let's say not digitally. Let's say like actually artistically, somebody would actually draw that painting.
It can.
Like an
It
actual
can.
like that could have actually been a practical effect. And if studios were to try to take it back a little bit, take it back to a more more being able to produce more practical effects.
You know what it's called? There's a name for it. It's called live art or living art.
Living
So
art.
I saw this show. Me and my wife saw the show on Apple TV called Dark Matter. It was based off of a book, one of my favorite authors, Blake Crotch. But it was called Dark Matter. It was basically about parallel universes and all this stuff. But anyway, the guy's wife in the TV show, she's an artist, and she paints like realistic. And I'm not talking about Rockwell, or I mean, it looks real. If you have to literally, like, she snapped a picture and there it is. Yeah, that's how her paintings look.
I've seen those, but like even going back, like what was, remember that movie Hook with Robin Williams?
Robin Williams, yeah.
You know that like all that stuff, like when they were going to Neverland and all that, like all that was practical effects. All that was just paintings, man. Yep. And like you go back and look at that today, and like, okay, it doesn't hold up 100%, but I'm saying if you were to take that and then put it into your VFX program, touch it up, make it look nicer, whatever. I'm saying what I'm trying to get at is that there are ways to do these effects with a much lower budget. And I think that that's what these studios have to start looking at. They have to start looking at cutting these massive budgets because you guys are not making the return. You guys, they're not. You know, it's very rare that you guys are going to put out a movie that's going to hit $1 billion. That does not happen with every movie. Yet they seem to have this expectation that it should happen with every movie.
And that's the problem.
Yes.
That's the problem. Look, when Marvel kicked off, you know, technically it kicked off with what, Hulk? I mean, obviously they're you know, they're not really, but it did. I liked Edward Norton's version of Hulk. I did. I like that version better than the Mark Ruffalo version. But
same with
you know, but so Iron Man, what was it? Iron Man
1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3. But the first Iron Man and the Thor movies did not make a whole bunch of money.
No.
There were 3 movies that came out. Captain America, those 3 movies came out first, and then they were like, okay, that's good enough for us to kick off our universe.
Remember when The Rock was promoting Black Adam and he was talking about the numbers? He even came out and said back then that Black Adam had literally done like the same numbers as the very first phase of like those first Marvel movies.
Those movies.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah. All they had to do was run their own race and just wait. It's coming. You just have to, you can't be expecting Man of Steel to do $1 billion right out of the gate.
Absolutely. And even Man of Steel, the first movie in that universe, made more money than Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor. Those first movies.
Yeah, it was the first movie out of all the Superman movies, period, to make more money than all of them. That says something, and you just ignored that money like that. That doesn't make sense. But then again,
it's WBD we're talking about, right?
This was by design. So there we are. So,
and to mention that Zack Snyder was also an artist before he was a director.
That's what I tell people too. I keep telling you, I say, look, I said, you know, he's not a director, guys. He's an artist. Just so happens he knows how to direct. Yeah, that's the difference between him and James Gunn. James Gunn, when he gets behind the camera, he's doing it to direct a movie.
And it's funny.
Zack Snyder, he's doing art.
That's what I was going to say is like when you listen to these interviews with people who work with Zach, it's like he's not just directing. He is literally like a one-man army on the set, from what I've heard. Yep. You know, he's running around with the cameras, doing all the legwork, everything. Yeah,
all of it, and that's Zach. You know, like I said, in the Twitter sphere, not a lot of people. You know, the people on the outside don't know what the heck's going on in here. There's a bunch of crazy people on X Twitter. We all know that. So
absolutely.
Yeah.